Once upon a time in a faraway forest, there lived a beautiful young princess named Snow White. Snow White had a pure heart and a lovely voice that charmed all who heard it. Despite her loving nature, Snow White was often lonely in the grand castle, as her stepmother, the evil queen, cared only about her outer beauty and not her happiness. One snowy evening, as the moon rose high in the sky, Snow White decided to venture into the enchanted forest. She wandered aimlessly until she stumbled upon a quaint little cottage hidden among the trees. Curiosity took over, and she entered the cottage to find 7 small beds neatly lined up. As night fell, Snow White's voice filled the silence as she sang a gentle lullaby, hoping to calm her loneliness. Little did she know that the 7 dwarfs who owned the cottage were returning from the mines and, upon hearing her melodious voice, were instantly captivated. The 7 dwarfs, whose names were Happy, Grumpy, Sleepy, Bashful, Sneezy, Dopey, and Doc, quietly entered the cottage. Startled, turned to face them, her voice fading. But instead of fear or anger, she found pure kindness in their eyes. Overwhelmed by their warmth, Snow White offered to cook and clean for the dwarfs, who gratefully accepted her presence. Every evening, Snow White sang her lullaby to the dwarfs, who would sit around her, enchanted by her voice and the pure love it carried. As the days passed, Snow White's lullaby became an important part of their lives. Each night, as Snow White sang, the dwarfs would fall into a peaceful slumber, their worries and troubles melting away beneath the comforting sound of her voice. Evil Queen, always suspicious of Snow White's growing popularity, eventually discovered her hiding place. Consumed by envy, the queen disguised herself as an old peddler woman and offered Snow White a poisoned apple. But despite the queen's wicked scheme, Snow White's lullaby saved her from eternal sleep. The power of her song broke the curse, and she awoke from her eternal slumber, surrounded by the dwarfs, had cried themselves into a deep exhaustion while singing along with her. From that day forward, Snow White and the 7 dwarfs lived happily, sharing love, laughter, and the lullaby that had united souls. Together, they demonstrated that the power of music and kindness can conquer even the darkest of spells, ensuring that their souls would forever be intertwined in a harmonious symphony of love.